files. Do you have the next challenge?
This one, next one's going to be a game challenge, right?
Well, we were going to start the game project.
Okay. What is the next thing that needs done for that?
Why don't we just do start a GitHub repository?
Okay. That's what we will do.
Well, we don't have to do it tonight. So I was like, oh crap, I forgot to sign up for that. I will sign up for that this week, and then you can do it.
Okay. I mean, if you're okay with everything being public, which wouldn't be a bad thing, right?
No, we could probably do, I don't know. I don't want to do this one public. I mean, we'll release some like samples publicly.
Okay, but you don't want the whole thing, like all the source and everything public.
No, not all the source.
Okay.
Because I want it to be our game. Possibly, maybe we want to sell it.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
If it comes already out there, it's kind of tough to sell it. I mean, you still can, but I don't have the social networking chops to make money off of that. Of course, I don't have any chops to make money off of it any other way either. Whatever. I don't know. If we want to release it later, we can. We'll think about it.
Yeah. We'll decide after we're done making it whether it's worth releasing. Okay.
But definitely, we will release code samples. So GitHub. Did you load up Aaron's?
I didn't keep a link. Do you know where they're at?
Well, he updated the link. Let me see if I can. It shouldn't be too far up in the development chats. Because he updated his link, I think.
Okay.
It's Cards Against Humanity. Oh my God, there's so much that happens in there that's not development chat. What the hell is this? Oh, I guess I missed a lot when I was at the Comic-Con thing.
How was that, by the way?
It was all right. Last year, at the FanFest one, they did like these several panels for like, they like did a comic book from start to finish, conception to design. I mean, it wasn't a whole comic book. It's like 2 pages and a cover. But still, they did it was from conception. They did writing, penciling, sketching, penciling, inking. They did coloring, and then they did printing. So it was like the whole thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was pretty interesting. I didn't go to all of them, but I went to a few of them, and it was really good. But they didn't do that this year.
Oh, that sucks.
It was like almost completely. Oh, it's not found. Aaron's paste bin's not found for his last link.
He must have put it as like a day expiration or something.
How am I supposed to get it then?
I don't know. Did he want us to talk about it?
I don't know. It's usually what it is. I guess we won't. I guess we'll just talk about it without talking about it.
Do you have Joe's?
I put the links inside of the promotions document.
Okay, promotions.
Not the promotion document, the updates under the podcast. There's links to the other codes. I put one to his code too, but that was like an earlier version, but this also doesn't work.
His doesn't work either?
No, his earlier version doesn't work either. So, there.
All right, then.
We can talk about it, but I guess we can't show anything about it.
I never ran their solution, so I don't know.
Okay. I ran theirs, and we can look at the code.
Let me toss it up there that they should give us a new link within the next 10 minutes.
Aaron just needs to give you a new link.
Just Aaron?
Just Aaron. Yeah, I have Joe's link. Plus, it's on my server, so I can always just grab it.
Joe's is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I have my own up. You have all the other ones ready?
I have mine ready, yep.
Okay.
Let me
Well-
minimize my personal information ones. Okay, there. Should be good.
All right, ready to go?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Hi, this is Dev Pirates Radio, where we challenge you to push your limits and learn new things. You can send your solutions in to contact@devpirates.com if you want to participate. Just put the challenge number in the description and we'll discuss it in the podcast. I'm Pete, and with me as always is Matt.
Hi. So how's that one? Is that one better to read?
It's better. So today's challenge is the war program. Now, if you remember from reading the post or from watching last time's show, we wanted to write a program that plays war against itself. I did put a bit more specificity on the post on the website because there's variations on how war is played, and I didn't want anybody to go, you did it wrong. So I made it a bit more specific. Who did you want to start with?
Well, we did get some submissions. I mean, from our brothers, but I mean,
I believe you mean random strangers.
I mean, yeah, random strangers because we're totally very popular podcast.
Everyone knows about us. We get thousands of them, and we whittled it down to these two.
The two very best ones,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and they also bribed us. I mean, all right. Well, let me share my screen, and since you're the controller, you're gonna have to select me.
I have you highlighted. You're good.
And I guess I'll just do the entire screen. Boop. Okay, so this is his war game. He added this autoplay, so it's beauty.
That's pretty good.
All you have to do while it's playing, it will just stop when it reaches a war, like this, and then you choose which card you want. Boop.
Oh,
And I
so there's
win.
actually a playable part.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
and then you just hit autoplay again until the next war. I tested it out. The winning conditions do work. I tested it all the way to losing and winning. Damn it. And it's all, and it looks very nice. It's got the card shapes and all that.
Mhm.
And then we look at the code. It's got everything that you put in it, except for he did the cards a little bit differently, or the war, because you specified the war is 3 down and the last one is it. Since he did the choice, he just did 3 and then you choose 1.
Okay.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't know. People have to be too specific on it. I kind of like a little variation.
Yeah.
So he has the suit array.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, the suit and value. And so based off of the value, I guess that's how he creates his new cards.
Mm-hmm.
He uses a shuffle function, looks like. All right.
Okay.
Deal. Writes out. Insert. Reset values. I really think there should be more comments.
That would be nice. There's a few.
But it's looks like very clean code. Everything looks pretty similar.
Yeah.
Nice indentations at least. And yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
And it works.
His looks a lot prettier than mine does.
I think the presentation is very pretty.
Yeah.
I think it's also prettier than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I first did it, I kind of went all out on it after a little bit because I kind of got bored. I got it working, just the basic game working. And I was like, but it's just kind of like this output. And so since it's in the web, I decided to make it a little bit prettier.
Okay.
So, do you want to talk about yours, or
You go ahead.
since I'm already on my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I go ahead and zoom in? So the HTML is very basic. It's just the options.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the output div. Then the script. So I created some objects. Well, I have this function up here to get random int. That's what I use for my randomizations. Have the arrays, and I just use the HTML special characters for the symbols. And then I have all the various classes, the card class, and I have this for debugging. And you'll notice I comment it for debug. I like commenting a bit. The quick display, and that just prints out one of the cards. I have a deck object, and this has more than one purpose. One, I created a whole new deck, and it has its own function for creating a deck and just does all the cards. It also has a shuffle function on it and get card. It has its own bank of cards.
Okay.
And you'll see the useful functions of it a little bit later. Shuffle, get card. All right. I also had add card somewhere. Yeah, right here. And it just adds a card. Very simple. And then I have the player, and the player has two decks, bank and pile. Okay. Now, for your thing, I only needed just the bank, and so I just put the cards on top and then pull them off the bottom.
Right.
But then I noticed they got into some eternal loop situations every once in a while. Yeah. And one of the ways to resolve that is to allow shuffling. And so the way I did that was I took the winner cards and put them into their discard pile. And then every time the bank runs out of cards, and it gets a card, then it just shuffles the discard pile and then puts that into the bank.
Makes sense.
And so you'll notice that these are all deck objects, which makes everything, which uses all the functionality of the same decks. I probably could have named them something different, but I started with deck. Yeah. And then I have the game object, which handles the game. You can pass in options. The output element, the element that you're going to do the output to, whether you're going to do aces high or not, how many decks you want, and whether you're allowing shuffling.
Okay.
And this is how you do default objects or default values for JavaScript. You see if it's defined. If it's undefined, then you do the default value. Or if it's not undefined, then you do the default value. Otherwise, you do the value that was passed in.
Yeah, I did something similar.
All right, and then I create two players. This is the timer is going to be the what I put the interval onto, so it's going to keep going. Create a new deck. I load the deck with the amount of decks. A lot of decks. I love decks in my face.
Just full of deck.
Just
all the decks.
Just really big deck. And then and then have I deal out the cards one at a time. I probably should have done this a little bit safer, but since it's always even, it doesn't matter.
Right.
If there were 3 players, I'd have to do this a bit safer.
Right.
And I have a function for checking cards. That's because I do it in more than one place. And anytime I do something more than one place, I like to make it a function.
Yeah.
And so so it'll check one card against the other. If both the cards are null, then it's a tie game. If the player 1 card is null, then player 1 loses the game. If the player 2 card is null, the player 2 loses the game. If player 1 card is greater than player 2 card, then all the winning conditions. I'm sorry, this is getting boring. Let's hurry up, speed through. All right, interval tick. This is the tick. It calls the game object. I should have done this a little bit more elegantly, but I didn't. All I did is I just called a static global game object that I created down here. And when the game starts, it instantiates that game object to the game object, to the game class. All right, and then it gets into the turn, which is a little bit more fun. First, I try to draw cards from the players. If anyone loses, they get null and lose, obviously. Then I check the play code, and so I get the cards, and I check the code off of that. If it's 0, that means it's a tie, and that means we go into war. And then I did a loop so that it would keep looping eternally until either player runs out of cards.
Okay.
And once a player runs out of cards, they lose. And then after that, it can no longer be a tied game. I mean, it can no longer be a tied hand, but it could still be a tied game. So I just take the play code, and then I display the results off of that. And then display turn function. I made it this is when I made it kind of pretty.
Let's watch it run. Oh, and you
hold
got
on.
more?
Yeah, let's watch it run. Okay, so I have a start game function, stop game function, and
Yeah.
I'll show all the functionality with that. Let's just get to it.
Unpause, pause.
Whoops, not that
Yeah,
one.
yours is a lot more involved than mine.
Yeah, I told you I went a little bit crazy on it. I went a little bit crazy. All right. Since it's all JavaScript, I can just run it straight from my local without even. All right. So here's this game speed, the number of decks, whether ace is high, and whether you allow shuffles or not.
Okay.
So let's start. Boop 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 boop. So the current turn is the top one.
Okay.
So it'll run through. It's kind of slow. Let's speed it up. There.
Oh, that's better. I don't know about you, but I've had games that run thousands of turns before they resolve.
I have, but since I started the shuffles, it happens less.
Right.
Okay, this one's pretty even though. This one could take forever, but you'll notice the war. Let's wait for the next one. So the war right here, same card, and then the winner takes the spoils. So you'll notice that this guy's cards jump up a lot.
Yeah.
So player 2 looks like they're gonna lose soon. Come on, come on.
Oh, now he's winning.
No. I played it with 4 decks, and it got up over to 4,000 turns. So I didn't watch it. I just let it play, and then I looked at it when it was over. One of the things I did notice though is that my display was slowing it down when it got after I updated it to these cool, pretty graphics. The display was starting to slow down after a few hundred rows, like almost 1,000 rows. So I cut it off. So you'll see that this is the very bottom, and it's just cutting it off at the end. So it doesn't have the complete game history. Player 2 wins!
Yay.
I thought they were going to lose, but they won! That was an exciting game of war. So I tried to make it a little bit prettier, gave them little cardy type shapes, and made the graphics a little bit easier on the eyes, I think. It's a little bit better than just the normal output. I think I have an output somewhere in here. War result. So this was the old output. And yeah, I think the new one looks a little bit better, a little easier to visually discern between.
Definitely.
And that's it. All right, let's go yours.
While I'm showing mine, can you do me a favor and load it onto your computer? Because my Java's messed up right now on this.
How do I load yours onto my computer?
Go to the paste bin. I'll send it to you in the chat here.
Oh wait, I think I would have it in updates.
In the chat. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so you guys don't have to look at my ugly mug. Screen 2, share.
All I have on here is Google's Java thing.
I just put a link into the chat on the video.
Well, I mean, all I have is Android Studio.
Oh, well, that probably won't work. Anyway, all right, it's fine. The output's really simple and ugly anyway. I really need to work on making sure that my compiling environment is good before I start the podcast. Okay. I do know it works, and if you want to copy the code down to your computer, you can run it on your own. Okay, so I'm gonna just give you a basic overview of all the classes I have here. Okay, so we'll start at the first one, which is war. That's just the main program. It says play forever, instantiates a dealer object, a player object, starts a round counter, and then tells the dealer to deal, and then we'll get to that stuff in a bit. Okay, so player. Player's simple, just has a deck and has a Boolean. I had to do that because if you get into a war situation, it was just a special case that I had to handle using this Boolean. I have another way of handling it if you lose during a regular turn. Okay, player or dealer. The dealer gets a deck, just like these guys, except when we instantiate the dealer's deck, we say true. This deck right here that uses the default constructor just makes an empty deck. This one actually, that one actually populates the deck with all the 52 cards. Okay, and then
I did the same thing.
And then this runs a counter. What is this doing? Oh, this is dealing. So it just deals out all the cards. And it uses the counter to say, hey, if it's even, give it to that guy. If it's odd, give it to the other guy. Check the decks. This was just a debug thing that I tossed on there. Man, I thought I commented better than this. Okay, here's the deck class. I have a string array of names, a string array for aces high and aces low. You just put the ace.
I didn't show you how I did mine. I just popped the ace off the bottom and moved it to the top.
Ah, yeah, that might be a cleaner way of doing it, but this was definitely faster.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so then you start a cards array. Each deck has a list of cards. That's what that is. And then we'll go down to the cards. Each card has a suit, a value, and a value name. The value name is what gets printed. The value is what gets compared against. I did this because I was just bored. I had a default constructor and I had nothing to do with it. So, okay. So you pass in all these things when you're building the deck, which is up here. You say new card with suit name. That's the counter, and this is the value name. So the suit name is I because that's the outer for loop, and the values and value names are J because that's the inner for loop. There's 4 suits, 13 cards. Okay.
I don't know why, but I did mine the other way. I did the cards and then suits.
Huh.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. You can shuffle it anyway.
Yeah. All right. So the play part of the war class is really where most of the stuff happens.
I really just did because I wanted to be different.
Of course you want it to be different. Okay. So the first thing you do in play is both players play the top card. We assign it to card 1 and card 2. Then we add it to the table card array.
That looks like exactly what I did.
I was done first, just to be clear. Okay. So, and then you print out the round, you print out the cards that each person played, print out their deck size.
Deck size. Mm.
Yeah, you did the same thing, but you did it all in one line.
My deck size is pretty big.
This is basically the comparing function. I thought about
you have to compare decks.
Yeah. Deck sizes, deck values are very important. That's just something.
That's way more deck jokes than we need.
Yeah. Okay. So I thought about turning this into a function and then maybe overloading it for the difference between the way war would play and this, but I didn't have time. So I just left it as 2 comparing things. You'll see down here I have a different comparator for the war. So card 1, which is from player 1. If it's greater, player 1 wins. Card 2 is bigger, player 2 wins. If they're equal, you start a war. Okay. This, just adding white space. And this one is saying, hey, if someone's Boolean of loses is true, then we don't continue the game. We end it and say player whatever loses. and the other player wins. Okay, so this is war. We have to make sure that both players have more than 3 cards in their deck. Otherwise, the war function for mine wouldn't work. It is important that, like the way I play war is if you don't have enough cards to go to war, you can't war.
That's right. If you don't have enough troops, you lose.
Exactly. So that was my thought. So this is the else statement where if you don't have enough cards, then you say, hey, they don't have enough cards to go to war. They lose. And
makes sense.
So here you play all those cards. There's
a lot of variations of this game, and it would have been bad form to try and get all the variations in.
Right. So anyway, so they play 3 cards, and then it says they play 3 cards face down on the table, and then they play the next 2 cards, and those 2 are the ones that get compared. But you have to add them all to the table so that the winner can just grab the whole table.
I also noticed you didn't put up the post until after your program was done. So you didn't have the requirements for the program until you were done with it.
Yeah, but even if I did it the day after the podcast, I've already done this once. I've already built a program once.
I'm just saying, you're like, oh, let's just do the specs to the program that I just programmed.
Mm-hmm. It's like a scientific study where it's like, oh, I found this. So we were looking for this. Yeah, so there you go. Pretty simple. And then it just loops over and over again.
Beauty.
Until somebody runs out.
Is that in Java?
Yeah, I did in Java. I think I might do the next one in C++. I got to start sharpening my skills because of the Unreal Engine.
There's a course out that was just kickstarted for it's like a whole tutorial to build a game under C++.
Is there a 3D library for C++ that's like for people just getting into game development?
I think if you're just getting into game development, you have to decide what you want to do. Game engines are now incredibly complicated. Back in my day, when we started, doing a game engine and a game were kind of like what you did. You built the game engine around the game.
Right.
But games were a lot less complicated back then.
Yeah.
Now there's all these things that you want to do, and you can't even for like Unreal, they were making a game engine for multiple games. They weren't just building a game engine around a game. This is pretty much just they released everyone else. And they did a lot of work to make it better for a wide acceptance than just what they did in-house. Because, in-house they go, oh, I don't know how to do this. Oh, well, we didn't do any documentation for it. Well, just ask Jim down the hall. Oh, okay.
Right.
But if you're going to do it out to public, you have to have all the documentation. You can't have, they still had a few bugs, but they did a really excellent job on Unreal Engine.
Because none of us can ask Jim down the hall about that one little thing that he did. Right.
Especially since Jim is a little weird.
You don't want to talk to Jim by yourself.
No, you should always bring HR with you. No, but there are a lot of tutorials and stuff for C++. But
I'm not really worried about it. The thing I need to worry about with learning C++ is memory management. Because in Java, you don't really worry about it.
We don't have to worry about that too much with Unreal Engine. They have a bunch of things that take care of a lot of that stuff for you if you declare things the right way.
Okay, cool.
They have a bunch of, I don't really know the actual term for them, but there's this whole framework that when you program inside for the Unreal Engine, there's all these things that it appends behind the scenes when the code compiles to your C++ to make it a lot safer, a lot more user-friendly.
Oh, cool. So is there a thing in C++ where you can create an array of objects?
Yes.
Okay.
But you probably want to use something a little more dynamic, depending on if you know exactly how big you want the array to be. It's really easy. If you don't, then you want to use something a little bit more advanced.
Okay. Okay.
Basically, C++ is strongly typed. That means you have to know what you want exactly at all times. Ways around that is you can dynamically allocate memory, but C++ isn't as nice about it as most other engines are, especially not as nice as scripting languages for obvious reasons.
And who knows, there may be some bugs with a linked list and Unreal.
Yeah.
You never
Well,
know.
with that, let me share my screen and we can go over Aaron's code.
Yeah, real quick. Did he send in a link to his stuff?
Yep.
Cool.
So here it is. He did his in C's++. This is just straight C++. Nothing fancy. Nothing like graphically fancy.
Did he do it object-oriented style or?
Well, I don't think there's a good. I don't think fully object-oriented style is a good way to go. But he did use objects, and he is object-oriented.
Okay.
But you can't go overboard with object-oriented. Like the basic premise is everything's an object.
Right.
Everything. And so that's a little crazy. That's like, it's like, okay.
Well, you could kind of see in my code that I kind of lean towards the more objects.
Well, yeah, more objects. Objects are extremely useful. But when you go from, I'm going to use these objects to make my programming useful, easy to read, easy to develop new things for, into everything is an object. No functions, just objects.
Right.
You get a little crazy. You can get a little crazy.
Well, I guess everything can't be an object. Like the game itself.
No, everything can be.
Well, the game itself shouldn't be, in my opinion. That should just be functions.
I don't know. There should be functions, I think, and functions should be a lot of things. Basic idea, like pure object-oriented, is every object has a specific function, and it only does that one thing. If you need to do a different kind of thing, you get a new object.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's going a little into crazy town.
Yeah, it makes things clean, though, because you're like, hey, where's the thing that does this?
Yeah. For me, object-oriented programming is you use objects in a way to reduce the amount of code, make things easier to read and understand, and faster to develop for. No reason to get all crazy.
Yeah.
All
it's not a religion.
Right. So he has these classes: card class, card stack, card table. And looks like card table is the game. Looks like he initializes things on the main.
I love all the comments.
Yeah. Well, remember, he did write most of this in just one straight line.
Yes, I remember.
It was only when he started to debug that he
broke it out.
Yeah. That's why you don't write things in just one line.
Who does that? Crazy people do that.
Same kind of crazy people that will object-orientize everything.
So it looks like he's got a shuffle built in. So if it makes it over 1,040, he shuffles every 1,040 turns. He shuffles both decks.
Yeah, and that's just straight shuffle. That's to get rid of that infinite loop problem. Mm-hmm. Same way I did it. Well, a different way, I guess, but the same idea.
Okay.
The game's in a stalemate, unstalemate it.
Right.
And it looks like it just goes until one of the players wins.
Yeah. So he uses a card stack. Is that his own custom class that he made?
Yeah. I showed you the classes: card stack, and then card table. Yeah. Card table looks like is where most of the game logic occurs. So you have play turn, and then you have play war, and it looks like play war does the loopy thing. If it's a tie, then it keeps going. And then, yeah. So, and then he initializes everything in main, and then goes into the game loop right here at the bottom. Loop, game loop. Mm-hmm. And he says his games run in less than a second. So
that's pretty fast. I'm assuming he's not writing to standard out then.
No, he does.
Oh, he does, and it's still
see out.
Plays that. Wow.
Yeah, he sees out each of the turns. Yeah.
If I type into a file, it'll run.
Compiled languages are faster.
Well, yeah. Well, in Java is mostly compiled, but if I send it into a file, mine goes a lot faster. But the actual running of the terminal print part actually slows it down.
It does, but partially compiled is not as fast as fully compiled.
I know, I said mostly compiled. But yeah, that's cool that he can play an entire game of thousands of turns in less than a second.
Anyway, so that was cool to finally have some other people participate.
Yay! Participation.
And I went a little crazy myself.
Yeah, you went overboard. I liked it.
I guess that's it. We'll talk about the next challenge.
Yes. We are going to get a Git repository set up for our game that we are going to be making. So we're not going to stop developing the other games that we've already started, but we're going to put them on the side for now. We're going to.
Some of us are doing lots of other things. Okay.
Some of us have a lot of stuff to do. And some of us, his name is Matt. So we're going to get a Git repository going for a game that we are tentatively calling
Endangered Kingdoms.
Endangered Kingdoms.
It's a classic adventure game styled like Zelda or Sword of Mana.
Okay.
Was it Sword of Mana? Pretty sure it was
Secret of Mana?
Secret of Mana. Yeah.
Yeah.
That adventure top-down 3/4 view type of game.
Yeah.
It's a little bit jokey. It's kind of making fun of the whole thing. Like some of the power-ups are like the boots of jumping.
Mm-hmm.
And the character can't get past a small fence because the character can't jump yet because they don't have the boots. Nice. If anyone remembers those classic games, they even do it now where it's like, oh, I can't get past this weirdly obstructed place right here where in real life I could just tiptoe over it.
Yeah. I recently got Evoland for mobile. So I'm kind of going through a bunch of stuff in there where you have to unlock all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, Evoland is an amazing game.
I had to unlock going right.
Yeah.
So.
And up and down. You unlock everything.
Yeah. But it's good. It's fun.
Does that one have a controller support for mobile?
I don't know. I've only played the touchscreen version.
Because I like controller support games. I think
too.
More games need to have them.
Me too. In fact, if I get a Steam controller, I would love to play that with my Android.
I don't know if you can connect a Steam controller to Android.
It's Bluetooth. Should be able to.
Yeah, probably. Someone probably done it. I got a good one.
Is the Steam controller Bluetooth?
I don't know. I haven't tried Bluetoothing it to anything else. I have one of those. I have one of those Steam box, not the Steam box, but the ones that run it from my computer.
Stream.
Yeah, one of the stream things. It works beautifully, and the controller. I love those pads on the controller.
Yeah,
they are very, very nice. Even in games that it wasn't developed for, like I went back and I was playing BioShock Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not as good. I haven't gotten used to it as well as using the mouse, but it's 100 times better than using a joystick. But I hate using joysticks for first-person shooters. So
me too. And if I'm gonna play first-person games on my computer and use a joystick, I'll use a Steam controller or a keyboard mouse.
Yeah.
Is it good for racing games too? Like I assume.
Ooh, I haven't tried a racing game on it yet.
I noticed like it has 2 R buttons on the top and then a third RL on the back.
Yeah, they have a right underneath the bottom, like a little. It looks a little dirty. It looks a little dirty. But it's kind of like rocks back and forth, like over the battery.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have like a third R and L, and that's really nice too if you want to really customize. I was playing this one game that was kickstarted and completed recently called Dex, and with the Steam controller, that is an amazing game. I mean, I tried playing it with the keyboard, and the keyboard's all right. I had some other joysticks I had before that were all right. The PlayStation 3 controller, it was really nice to play on, but the best that I've played it on so far is the Steam controller.
Cool. Cool.
Anyway, I highly recommend the Steam controller, even if you're just going to play it on your PC.
I'll tell my wife to get me one for Christmas.
And if you already have a decent computer, the Steam streamer is really nice too. And play it if you want to play Steam on your TV. It also shows up on your computer, so if you wanted to, you could just switch the TV and just play on your computer too. So it's not like you're stuck with, like, if you're using the Steam streaming, you don't have to like reconnect the controller to your PC. It will run through the Steam streaming, and there's like, I haven't noticed any lag with it. Really
Does the
fast.
controller work as a mouse replacement for like when
Yes.
you're going through the operating system?
Yeah. Yeah, you can use it, like the right one, I think, is the mouse one, but it works
Cool.
nicely.
I like that.
What
All
else?
right.
Oh, we should go to our projects.
Sure. But to recap, get repository so that we can both work on the same game remotely.
Yes, since we're going to be working on the same game remotely, it'd be nice to have something nice for it.
Yes.
And dress up somewhere. Dress up and nice. Dress up like something nice, okay?
Yeah,
Dress up,
I'll
dress up
wear something
nicely.
nice. I'll wear something
Get
nice.
something nice. Make yourself presentable.
Yes, I will. Okay. I have done nothing but this podcast work. I haven't done any writing or anything for anything else.
Where's that notes thing that you linked me earlier?
I don't know. Did you like that? Did you like Google Keep?
Well, I like it because then we can both like check things off with each other, since you don't like using the Google Docs.
Yes. Hold on. Let me make sure it was shared with you.
It was shared with me. There it is. But I don't have a link to it
Hold on.
in my things.
I will.
Wait, it says it's no longer shared with my account. What? You
My kids
unshared
play on my phone sometimes, okay?
it? Oh my God, you're such a dick.
I teased you with a link. There you go. All right. You should be back on there.
All right, let me try. Let me try. Oh, there it is. Hey.
I haven't even looked
This
at
new
the
Google
Keep
stuff
website.
is really nice. Okay, so we have Zombie King and Music for Anthology.
Yes. And I have no check marks. So I was gonna do Dev Pirates, and then I'll check that one off. And I'll have to just remember to move them back up. I'll have to see if there's a way to automate putting those back into unchecked every week.
Yeah, I wonder if someone who developed some kind of list site would do that too.
I wonder. Do you know anybody?
But then you would never use that either.
Hey, if it was convenient and sharing and good, I would use it. The only reason I started doing this, it was really for myself, but it was because my grocery list is really nice to have shared with my wife. So
Yeah, I put my grocery list on there too, and I also have some other things for work. Some notes I put into work on there.
Cool.
But I don't use it on my PC. I've only been using it on my phone. It should probably be nice to. I should add this into my normal link things. Yeah, add a shortcut. There we go. Now it's in my normal links. Beauty. All right. So projects. Gears of Fate music.
We did do some. I don't remember if it was for this last week, but we did do some.
All right. Dev Pirates. We worked on this thing last week and this week. Yeah, last week. Nerd and Loathing. We didn't do anything. We're going to record Nerd and Loathing tomorrow night. Unify lists. I did not do anything. I said I was gonna, but I didn't.
That's my job.
No one can hear you. That's still on hold for now. Endangered Kingdoms. Nothing. But we're going to do something this week, right? Because we're going to start the GitHub.
Yes.
Be down to you.
If you get the account going, I'll hook that up.
Ride. I worked on the unicorn. I spent 8 hours on the shading of the upper lip.
It's a very, very pretty upper lip.
Podcast site. I didn't work on that either. I was gonna, but I didn't. I need to do links in the comments so the links are easier on the podcast site. Zombie King. We worked on that a little bit.
We did. Let me check that box. Boom.
All right, let's work on. We need it, but uncheck it because we need to do it we need the checks for this week.
All right, unchecked, unchecked.
All right. I think that's it. NaNoWriMo's over. So boom.
You're a winner.
I'm
You're a
I'm
NaNoWriMo.
winner.
What's the name of the podcast we're doing tomorrow?
Nerd and Loathing.
Nerd and Loathing. We think I would remember that since I've been doing it for years.
I think Trump's going to make it onto the shit list.
Again? What are the odds?
What I mean, he's the first. We just started that list.
Oh. I thought you just meant on the loathing.
No, I think he's earned a place on there.
I think you're right. And we just need to do an every episode update of the shitty thing he does.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll get at least a year out of it.
He's going to rack up a lot of points.
Oh.
He's going to rack himself up a lot of points.
He's going to rack himself, huh? All right.
That's it.
Good talking to you, Matt.
Mm.